Most people today live as if every emotion owns them. One careless comment, one delayed reply, or one moment of disrespect is enough to ruin their entire day. They rush to defend themselves, explain, argue, and prove a point. But every time they react, they lose a piece of peace. The truth is simple. When you react, you hand your power to the thing that provoked you. A Stoic lives differently. He sees the chaos, but he does not become part of it. He listens, but he doesn't absorb every emotion that crosses his path. He knows that control doesn't mean suppression, it means clarity. Epictetus once said, "You can't control what happens, only how you respond." That's where real freedom begins. Not in trying to manage the world, but in mastering yourself. So today, let's train that strength. Let's learn to stop reacting. Start observing and control our emotions like a Stoic. 1. The pause before reaction. Every time you react instantly, you trade your peace for impulse. Someone cuts you off in traffic, a co-worker takes credit for your work, a loved one says something unfair, and before you even realize it, your body tightens, your words rush out, your mind burns with emotion. It feels powerful in the moment, but what follows is always the same: regret, exhaustion, and the quiet realization that you gave your power away. The Stoics understood something most people never learn, that the space between what happens and how you respond is where your true freedom lives. Viktor Frankl called it the space between stimulus and response. That small, silent gap is the difference between peace and chaos, between strength and surrender. A Stoic doesn't rush into that space. He expands it. He pauses long enough to see things clearly. When you pause, you don't suppress your emotions. You master them. You breathe, you observe, you ask, is this worth my energy, or am I just feeding my ego? This pause is not a weakness. It's control. It's a shield between your higher self and the noise of the world. Marcus Aurelius faced betrayal, sickness, and war. Yet he wrote, "If it's endurable, then endure it. Stop complaining." He understood that most suffering is amplified by reaction. What hurts us is not the event itself, but the storm we create around it. When you choose to pause, you stop that storm before it begins. In modern life, the pause is your secret weapon. Before replying to a disrespectful text, before snapping back at someone's tone, before judging a situation, stop, breathe, observe. Ask yourself, what outcome do I want to create? Because reaction builds chaos, but observation builds power. This is emotional training. The same way a soldier trains his body, you must train your mind. Every time you resist the urge to react, you strengthen an invisible muscle, the muscle of restraint. And the stronger it gets, the freer you become. So starting today, practice the sacred pause. When anger rises, don't let it speak for you. When disappointment comes, don't rush to label it. Just stop for 3 seconds and breathe through the storm. In that short silence, you'll feel something shift. Control returning, peace returning, dignity returning. Remember this: the one who pauses commands the moment. The one who reacts becomes its prisoner. Affirmation: power lives in the pause. 2. Observe without absorbing. When you start observing instead of reacting, something extraordinary happens. The chaos around you no longer owns you. You begin to see people's anger, gossip, and insecurity not as personal attacks, but as reflections of their own battles. The Stoics called this emotional distance rational perspective, a discipline that separates what's yours from what's not. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "You don't have to have an opinion about everything." Those words sound simple, yet they hold a profound truth. Most people suffer because they absorb every emotion that crosses their path. Someone complains, and they feel drained. Someone glares and they feel small. But when you stop absorbing, you stop bleeding energy. You stay calm, not because life is easy, but because you refuse to pick up what isn't yours. Think about it. Every day, the world throws thousands of small provocations at you. From social media arguments to co-workers' moods to random strangers venting online. And most people swallow all of it. They carry others' frustrations, fears, and judgments as if they were their own. No wonder they feel exhausted. Stoicism teaches the opposite. You can witness the storm without stepping into it. Observation is not indifference, it's mastery. When you observe, you don't shut down your emotions. You simply choose what enters your inner world. You can hear someone insult you and think, that's their story, not mine. You can face rejection and say, this is feedback, not a definition of my worth. That's what a Stoic does. He sees clearly, but stays untouched. In the modern world, this is your armor. The more you absorb, the more you suffer. But when you stand in stillness and let emotions pass through you, you gain perspective. Imagine being at the bottom of a stormy ocean. The waves crash, the noise is loud, everything feels unstable. Now rise above it to where the water is calm and the sky is wide. The storm still exists, but you're not inside it anymore. That's the power of observation. Practicing this isn't about suppressing your feelings. It's about developing emotional boundaries. When someone unloads negativity, visualize a glass wall between you and them. Their words reach your ears, but not your soul. Breathe deeply, stay grounded in your body, and remind yourself, this energy does not belong to me. Observation gives you wisdom. Absorption only gives you pain. And the more you practice it, the more you'll notice how people reveal themselves through their reactions. Anger shows fear, arrogance shows insecurity, silence shows strength. Once you see this clearly, you stop taking things personally. So today, don't absorb the world. Just observe it. Watch the patterns, not the drama. Listen without carrying the noise. And when someone tries to pull you into their storm, stay still. Let them know you are the calm that cannot be moved. Affirmation. I see everything, but nothing owns me. 3. Detach from the need to win. One of the hardest things for the human ego to accept is this. You don't need to win every argument to be strong. Most people waste endless energy trying to prove a point, to correct others, to make sure their scene is right. But the Stoics saw that this need to win is just disguised insecurity. It's the mind saying, if they disagree, I'm not enough. Epictetus said, better to conquer yourself than to win 1,000 battles. Because every time you argue to prove your worth, you hand that worth to someone else. You let their opinion become your mirror. A Stoic doesn't live that way. He knows that the real victory is in a stillness, when you no longer need to convince anyone of who you are. Think about the last argument you had. Did winning it make you feel peaceful, or just momentarily superior? The ego loves the short high of being right, but peace never follows that feeling. Because being right is about dominance, being wise is about detachment. Wisdom doesn't need to fight. It just sees clearly and moves on. Marcus Aurelius faced endless criticism as an emperor. People lied about him, questioned his decisions, and even mocked his kindness. Yet he wrote, "The best revenge is not to be like your enemy." He understood that the moment you start fighting to prove yourself, you become like those you resist. Stoicism is about rising above the noise, not by ignoring it, but by outgrowing it. When someone attacks you verbally, you have 3 choices. You can attack back, you can defend yourself, or you can rise above it. The first costs your peace. The second costs your energy. Only the third gives you power. The one who stays calm holds the frame. The one who reacts loses it. Detachment is not indifference. It's discipline. It's the ability to say, I see what's happening, but I will not let it define me. You still care, but you don't cling. You still listen, but you don't bleed. That's what emotional strength looks like. In modern life, this is how you win quietly. You choose peace over performance. You let go of the urge to respond to every provocation. You understand that silence in the face of chaos is not weakness, it's evolution. And when you stop needing to win, people lose their control over you. So next time someone challenges your worth, remember this. You don't owe them proof. You owe yourself peace. Smile, breathe, and walk away. Let them argue with their own emptiness while you keep your dignity intact. The greatest power is to have nothing to prove and no one to impress. That's where real freedom begins. When you no longer chase validation, but live in quiet conviction. Affirmation. I don't need to win, I just need to stay free. 4. Emotional alchemy, turning triggers into teachers. Every emotion you feel is trying to teach you something. Anger, jealousy, disappointment, anxiety. None of them arrive by accident. They are signals, not enemies. Yet most people never stay long enough to listen. They react, resist, or escape. They numb themselves with distraction instead of decoding the message behind the feeling. The Stoics saw emotions differently, not as curses, but as guides. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." He wasn't being poetic. He was describing emotional alchemy, the art of turning pain into power. Every time something triggers you, life is holding up a mirror and saying, here is the part of you that still needs work. That's not punishment, that's training. Think about it. When someone's words sting more than they should, it's not because of them. It's because they've touched an old wound you haven't healed. When you're jealous, it's not about what the other person has. It's about the potential you've ignored in yourself. When you're angry, it's often because you expected the world to follow your script. The trigger isn't the problem. The illusion of control is. Stoicism invites you to sit with your discomfort and study it. Ask your emotions, what are you showing me? That question alone can turn a breakdown into a breakthrough. Epictetus reminded his students, circumstances don't make the man, they reveal him to himself. Every reaction you have is a reflection of what's still untrained inside you. In practice, this means journaling after emotional spikes instead of venting. Write down what happened, how you felt, and what belief was challenged. You'll notice a pattern, the same fears, the same insecurities, the same unmet expectations. And once you see the pattern, you stop being its prisoner. Observation becomes transformation. Modern society teaches you to run from negative emotion, to scroll, to drink, to distract. But Stoicism teaches the opposite. Stay. Sit in the fire until it no longer burns. Because every time you stay present with your pain, it loses power over you. The heat becomes light. The discomfort becomes discipline. This is the essence of emotional alchemy, converting suffering into self-knowledge. Instead of asking, why is this happening to me? Ask, what is this teaching me? That shift in language changes everything. Pain stops being punishment and starts being purpose. Remember, even Marcus Aurelius, a ruler of an empire, faced betrayal, loss, and sickness. Yet he used each hardship as material for wisdom. He turned every emotional wound into armor for the soul. You can do the same. So next time you feel triggered, don't run, don't react. Just breathe and observe. The fire that once consumed you can become the furnace that forges you. Affirmation. Every trigger is a teacher. Every pain refines my strength. 5. Silence as emotional power. In a world that worships noise, silence has become a superpower. Everyone wants to speak, to argue, to explain, to prove. They think being loud means being strong. But real strength, Stoic strength, is quiet. It doesn't shout to be understood. It stays silent to stay in control. When someone disrespects you, your first impulse is to react, to defend yourself, to explain, to set the record straight. But each word you throw into chaos only feeds it. The Stoics knew that silence disarms chaos faster than words ever could. Elbert Hubbard once said, "Never explain. Your friends don't need it, and your enemies won't believe it. Those who truly understand you don't need convincing. Those who don't, never will." Silence isn't submission, it's self-respect. When you stay silent, you're saying, "I don't need to waste energy trying to control how others perceive me." You protect your mind from the noise of misunderstanding. You hold your power where it belongs, within. Marcus Aurelius ruled over Rome but wrote to himself daily, reminding his mind to stay still amid storms. Be like the rock against which the waves crash, and it stands firm. The rock doesn't argue with the wave, it just remains. That's what silence is, remaining unmoved while the world flails around you. In modern life, silence is your emotional boundary. When people provoke you online, when gossip tries to drag you into its spiral, when someone texts to bait a reaction, don't give them what they want. Because attention is energy, and silence is energy withheld. The one who controls their energy controls the outcome. Try this practice, the 72-hour rule. When you feel triggered, resist the urge to respond immediately. Wait 3 days. Watch how most problems shrink in size or dissolve entirely. That's not avoidance, it's perspective. You'll realize that silence often reveals the truth. Who respects you, who manipulates you, and who never deserved your energy in the first place. Stoic silence is not emotional coldness, it's conscious restraint. It says, "I value my peace more than my pride." That's not weakness, that's discipline. Because pride reacts, peace observes. When you choose silence, you're also teaching others how to treat you. You're saying, "My boundaries are not up for debate." You're modeling control without domination, confidence without arrogance. The next time someone provokes you, remember, responding gives them the stage. Silence removes it. Let them talk. Let them twist. Your quiet will echo louder than their words. Because calm doesn't need to prove anything. It simply is. So learn to use silence like a sword. Not to cut, but to protect. Hold your peace like a weapon no one can disarm. Affirmation. My silence is not weakness, it's wisdom. 6. Control the inner dialogue. The most dangerous battlefield isn't out there. It's inside your own mind. What you whisper to yourself in silence will either build you or break you. Most people think their suffering comes from what others do or say. But the truth is, pain usually comes from how we interpret it. Epictetus said, "It's not things that disturb us, but our opinions about them." The Stoics knew, it's not the world that hurts us, it's the story we tell ourselves about the world. You can't control other people's actions, but you can control the meaning you attach to them. A Stoic rewrites the story. When someone disrespects him, he doesn't think, "They've humiliated me." He says, "They've revealed their nature, not mine." When life doesn't go as planned, he doesn't say, "I've failed." He says, "I've been redirected." The language of your inner world defines the boundaries of your peace. Most of us let our minds run like untrained dogs, chasing every negative thought, every insecurity, every past regret. But a Stoic trains his mind like a disciplined soldier. He observes each thought and asks, "Is this true? Is this useful? Does this deserve my energy?" That pause, that inner interrogation, turns emotion into logic, chaos into clarity. Marcus Aurelius wrote to himself every night, not to sound wise, but to train his own mind. He'd rewrite his emotions into reason. When he felt angry, he wrote, "It's just ignorance." When he felt anxious, he wrote, "You've survived this before." He was performing daily mental surgery, removing the poison before it spread. You can do the same. Try this practice. When something upsets you, write down the thought exactly as it appears. Then rewrite it as a Stoic would. Change, "They hate me," to "They misunderstand me." Change, "I can't handle this," to "This is my chance to grow." Change. "Everything is falling apart," to "Everything is rearranging itself for my growth." You'll be amazed at how language changes your entire emotional state. Because words aren't just communication, they are programming. The more you tell yourself you're powerless, the more powerless you feel. But when you speak with strength, calm, and purpose, your nervous system listens. The body obeys the tone of the mind. In modern chaos, controlling your inner dialogue is like having noise-canceling headphones for the soul. When the world screams panic, your mind whispers patience. When others say you're not enough, your voice says, "I am steady." You become your own anchor. Every Stoic mastered this inner dialogue. They turned thought into command, and command into calm. And that's your task too. Not to stop thinking, but to think like a master. Remember, the outer world is loud, but the voice inside you is louder. Train it, direct it, make it serve you, not destroy you. Affirmation: I don't believe everything I think. I choose the thoughts that strengthen me. 7. Discipline over emotion. Most people live as slaves to how they feel. If they feel motivated, they act. If they don't, they stop. They treat their emotions like commands and their discipline like an option. But a Stoic reverses that order. He acts from principle, not from mood. He knows that feelings are visitors. Discipline is identity. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "At dawn, when you have trouble getting out of bed, tell yourself, 'I'm rising to the work of a human being.'" That's not a motivational quote. It's a command to his own weakness. The Stoics knew that comfort kills potential faster than failure. Because every time you choose comfort over challenge, you teach your mind to obey your weakness. Discipline isn't about forcing yourself. It's about remembering who's in charge, you or your emotions. Your emotions say, "I don't feel like working out." Your discipline says, "Do it anyway." Your emotions say, "I'm tired of being kind." Your discipline says, "Be kind anyway." Your emotions say, "This is unfair." Your discipline says, "Control what you can and move forward." The truth is, discipline creates peace. It looks like a sacrifice, but it gives freedom. Because when you're ruled by emotion, your life becomes unpredictable. One insult ruins your day. One setback destroys your motivation. But when you're ruled by discipline, you're untouchable. The noise doesn't move you. The weather doesn't change you. The emotion doesn't define you. In a world addicted to feelings, discipline is rebellion. People chase dopamine, likes, validation, comfort. But you chase command. You choose structure over chaos, patience over impulse. That's what separates the strong from the soft. Discipline doesn't mean being harsh. It means being steady. It's not about punishing yourself. It's about honoring your potential. Every time you show up when you don't feel like it, you build self-respect. Every time you keep your word when no one is watching, you become unshakable. Discipline is the quiet confidence that says, "I do what needs to be done, regardless of how I feel." In Stoic philosophy, this is called prohairesis, your power of choice. No one can touch it unless you surrender it. Life can hurt you, mock you, test you, but it cannot control you without your consent. And that's why discipline matters. It's your shield against chaos. So from now on, stop waiting for the right emotion. it will never come. Act first, the feeling will follow. Because motivation doesn't build consistency. Consistency builds motivation. The warrior who wins is not the one who feels strongest, but the one who keeps moving when every emotion tells him to stop. Affirmation. I act on discipline, not emotion. 8. Choose response as art. Every reaction is a brushstroke on the canvas of your character. Now, most people don't realize it, but how you respond to life is how you shape who you are. Every word you speak, every tone you use, every silence you choose, it's all a design. Some people let emotions paint their story in chaos, but the Stoic paints with precision. He chooses every stroke with intention. His reactions are not accidents, they are art. Respond, don't react. That's a Stoic commandment, short but infinite in depth. A reaction is impulse, fast, loud, and messy. A response is mastery, slow, deliberate, and powerful. The difference is the space you create before acting. That space is where your wisdom lives. Think of yourself as an artist of the mind. Every challenge life gives you is raw clay. You can mold it into bitterness, or you can sculpt it into strength. When someone disrespects you, you can snap, or you can pause, breathe, and reply with calm authority. When life disappoints you, you can complain, or you can reflect, adapt, and rise higher. Your reaction determines whether you destroy your peace or deepen it. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If someone does wrong, the harm lies in their action, not in your response. You are not responsible for their behavior, only for your art, and the most refined art is restraint. The most beautiful response is silence wrapped in dignity." Every day, life gives you chances to practice this art. Someone cuts in line, someone insults you, someone ignores you. You can either give them your energy or give yourself your peace. When you choose the latter, you shift from reaction to creation. You start building the kind of strength that doesn't depend on circumstances. You start responding from values, not from wounds. Try this Stoic exercise before responding to anything emotional. Stop and ask, what would a wise person do here? That single question moves you from impulse to virtue. It reframes every moment into practice. Soon, your behavior stops being a reflection of the world and becomes a reflection of your principles. The Stoics believed life itself is a performance, not for applause, but for excellence of character. Every response is a chance to practice that excellence. When you respond with patience, you practice endurance. When you respond with calm, you practice mastery. When you respond with grace, you practice wisdom. You're not here to be perfect. You're here to be deliberate, to make your responses so intentional that even silence becomes a statement of strength. Because in the end, people may not remember what happened, but they will remember how you responded. And that, more than anything, defines you. So treat every moment as your art studio. Life gives you the paint. You decide the color. Life throws the challenge. You decide the brush stroke. Respond with grace, with discipline, with clarity, and watch your life turn into a masterpiece of composure. Affirmation. My response is my art. My calm is my legacy. You've just walked through 8 Stoic principles, 8 ways to reclaim your peace in a world addicted to reaction. You've learned to pause before responding, to observe without absorbing, to detach from the need to win, to turn pain into purpose, to use silence as your armor, to master your inner dialogue, to act from discipline, not emotion, and to treat every response as an art. This isn't about becoming emotionless. It's about becoming unshakable. You'll still feel, but you'll no longer be ruled by those feelings, because control isn't suppression, it's strength wrapped in awareness. So from this day forward, carry this truth. The calmest person in the room holds the most power. If this message spoke to you, share it with someone who's ready to stop reacting and start mastering their life. Final affirmation. I no longer react. I respond with power, with peace, with purpose.